Okay, here we go. We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Three White podcast. Yeah, I apologize about it. We had technical difficulties, and yeah, here we go. First, uh, first Three White podcast. I apologize for the delay. I had a situation that was beyond my control. So, whoa. Sorry, whoa, bit of delay there, or not a bit of delay, a bit of a echo there. Didn't want that. So anyway, we have a nice stream here for today, or a nice podcast here for today. Um, man, I hate to get this one late. Start this one late because this is a big one for us. Not only is it the first one, but we got a huge announcement that happened over the week that we got to discuss. So, yeah, let's get right to it. So, of course, our big announcement, or not big announcement, our big announcement, but the main big thing that happened over the week was Dale Earnhardt Jr. announcing his retirement. So, Dale Earnhardt Jr., with this big announcement and everything, this has definitely been a talk of the community all week long since it was announced Tuesday. And I actually announced this podcast Tuesday, and I wasn't expecting it to. I wasn't expecting that. That was completely unplanned. I actually set up the podcast, or I set up the channel for the podcast on Monday, and Tuesday just so happened to be the big thing. So since that happened, that's just been everyone's talk. I kind of expected it. I even said at the beginning of this year, I said this is going to be Dale Jr.'s last year. I thought it was going to be because he was going to a crash causing a concussion. I'm glad it's because of this, and he's leaving on his own terms. I'd much rather see this, but I had a feeling that this was actually going to be his last a year. So, after this big whole announcement, you got to start thinking about his accomplishments throughout his entire career. We had, 2 Xfinity Series championships, and then, 28 career wins, majority of them being with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and then moving over to Hendrick Motorsports in 2008, I think it was, in 2008, which is, in my opinion, a great move for him. He saw DEI was falling apart, moved to Hendrick, and I don't think he should regret that, because that was a great decision, at least in my opinion, and really glad to see him. One second. Still dealing with technical stuff. And I'm glad to see him get here. So yeah, that was incredible. I mean, it was incredible to see that he recognized that team was falling apart, and just ultimately move over to Hendrick, which was the best spot for him. I mean, him and his teammates at the time, which was in 2008, it would have been Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and I believe Casey Mears in the 5. Or was it Mark? No, I want to say it was Casey Mears, and then Mark Martin came the next year. But anyway, that team was fantastic. Of course, the team ended up winning the championship that year with Jimmy Johnson. Incredible season for Hendrick all around, and it was a good, just a great year. And they acquiring Dale Jr. like that, fantastic. So Dale Jr. retiring on his own terms is such a great thing. Like I said, I was expecting him to go out because of injury this year. I was hoping that wouldn't be the case, but I had a funny feeling that was going to happen. And the fact that he's leaving on his own term is just fantastic. So I'm really happy for him. He's married now. He's married now. He's got other priorities, but he's also got his race team to manage. Remember, he's got Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. So he's probably going to sit there, just be a full-time team owner at this point. I mean, he is a full-time team owner, but not an owner-driver anymore. He's going to be just a straight-up owner now. And he's got his own thing with Junior Motorsports, and I feel like it's going to be a good thing for him. and I'm sure he's going to help out with Hendrick Motorsports as well. Probably finding driver development stuff. That's kind of what Mark Martin did after he retired. I believe that's what he did for Roush for a little bit. So that ended up being really good for Mark Martin. I could picture Dale Jr. doing the same thing. Jeff Gordon, when he retired, he kind of did something a little different, of course, after he co-owned the 48 and the 24. So do the whole his own race team thing. So he, broadcasting, he ended up being with Fox, and he's like one of the announcers. He's one of the main announcers with Fox now. Him being in the booth with Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip. So all these different drivers retiring and stuff. The only one that's still strange to me is the Carl Edwards retirement that happened at the end of 2016. That was strange. Now, actually, I shouldn't say it was a retirement because he just said he was stepping away. He didn't say he was fully retiring, which I could see him come back in the future. Probably won't be with a large-scale team like he used to be, but I could see him come back in the future with someone like, I don't know, Front Row Motorsports or maybe I don't know. So, he could be with a smaller. He'll end up with a smaller team, in my opinion. Front Row Motorsports, maybe Germain Racing, if they decide to get a second car, or if they decide to replace Ty Dillon, or perhaps Ty Dillon moves over to RCR. Paul Menard, he could potentially take Paul Menard's place. He could, maybe Ryan Newman, because Ryan Newman's getting up there in age. Ryan Newman could possibly be retiring pretty soon in his career. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying he could. I mean, he's getting up there in age. He's getting ready to retire. I don't think Carl Edwards is going to go there, but go back to Joe Gibbs Racing. I honestly think he's done with Joe Gibbs Racing. I think he's done with being with a big, high-scale team, only because he's going to be far away from the driver's aspect in a cup ride. And once you do that, you basically, your seat's going to be taken up by a younger driver, and that's basically it. It's happened to a few drivers where they leave and then it would come back and they'll be with a smaller team and really can't do anything after that. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't think for career-wise, I don't think I'm glad Carl's leaving on his own terms, not because of something like injury or something like that. But I still think he left a little early. I really do. I don't know. I'm getting off topic now, but yeah, in the aspect or in the final say, Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm glad he's making this choice. I really do. I'm happy for him. I think this is a good move personally. I don't think it's too early because his injuries with the concussions and stuff, that's obviously played a big part in it. But he keeps saying it's a hypothetical question, but really it is. It really is a factor. I mean, it has to be. I mean, how can you not think about that? He was just out of a race car for 6 months at last season because of injury, and Alex Bowman took place. I want to see Alex Bowman go. But now my question is, everyone's asking, who's going to replace Dale Earnhardt Jr. But the real question to me is what are they going to keep the 88? Because really, if you think about it, the 88 car specifically for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and that was it. Then Hendrick Motorsports never used that number 4, at least not to my knowledge. And if they did, it was probably like a one-off in like 90s, like the early or late 80s when they had All-Star Racing. Honestly, I think the 88 is going to switch to the 25 car next year because that was the classic Hendrick number. Not saying retire the 88 because as you guys know, I'm 100% against retiring numbers. Against it, I do not think retiring numbers in NASCAR would be a good thing. But that's why I was for. Like I said, I was just actually talking about this not too long ago. I think the 3 car when it came back was fantastic. I'm glad they brought the 3 car back. I think you can see how Earnhardt. I have wide respect for Earnhardt. I think you can tell by the channel logo. It's the Earnhardt 3. I mean, not like you guys wouldn't be able to tell that. But anyway, once again, I'm getting off subject. The 25 car, I think they should bring back. And the driver I think they should bring back with it is Alex Bowman. However, they're going to do. I think they're going to bring William Byron in because he's got sponsorship. He's got Liberty University with him, going wherever he goes. He's with Kyle Busch Motorsports in the Truck Series. Moved over to Junior Motorsports this year in the 9 car. I could see a 25 car coming back with William Byron driving the Liberty University car, and maybe Nationwide if Nationwide decides to stay. Take Exalta, for example. So after Jeff Gordon retired, of course, Exalta being a lifelong sponsor for Jeff Gordon. They were DuPont when he first came back or came into NASCAR in the Cup Series. DuPont was a sponsor. Everyone knows the Rainbow car, and he kept that sponsor all the way until his retirement in 2015. Which you don't see that a lot. You don't see sponsors sticking with a driver forever. Lowe's with Jimmy Johnson, rookie year 2002. He's had Lowe's on his car. They've been with him ever since. So you don't see that a lot anymore. And so I wonder if Nationwide's going to stay, or at least stay with Hendrick Motorsports and maybe go to a different team. Because like Exalta, after Jeff Gordon retired, decided to go to the 88 car, stuck with Hendrick Motorsports, but then go to the 24 car with Chase Elliott like everyone thought they were going to. They went to the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think it's because that way they'd be attached to a veteran driver, a driver that can stay consistent. This is obviously they made this decision before the concussion, but yeah, I mean that's I think Nationwide could possibly do that, and if they do that, where they would go, possibly to Jimmy Johnson, not as a primary but as a secondary, like Exalta did. Maybe go to Jimmy Johnson because that's like the big name for Hendrick Motorsports now. That's the name everyone knows. Everyone who knows anything about NASCAR will know Chase Elliott. They'll know William Byron if they pay attention to the Xfinity and the Truck Series the last couple of years. Because William Byron, he got like 7 wins his rookie year, and that's why he moved up to the Xfinity Series, and that was incredible. That's unheard of in the Truck Series. A rookie coming in, getting 7 wins. He didn't win the championship, but he finished second in points. So, did I say it was 2015? If I said it was 2015, I meant 2016. But if I said 2015, I don't even know if I did. But you can't. Drivers like that, of course, they're going to move up right away. That's why, to me, it was no surprise when Daniel Suarez replaced Carl Edwards. Because, of course, Daniel Suarez just won the Xfinity Series championship, and when Carl Edwards randomly out of nowhere announced his retirement, they immediately picked Daniel Suarez. Not only was he just a championship, but he also had that association with Eris, which was the primary sponsor in the 19 car. So, that was a clear choice for Daniel Suarez to take that ride. And I think that's why William Byron's going to end up being in the 25 car. Like I said, I'm sticking to it. That's my prediction for 2018. For the 2018 Hendrick Motorsports lineup, it's going to be the 5, the 24, 25, and 48. Because, those are the 4 Hendrick numbers that everyone can immediately associate with Hendrick Motorsports. If they've been with the sport for a while. Think of 2002. That was the lineup. The 5, the 24, the 25, the 48. 2002, of course, Jimmy Johnson's rookie year. Those 4 numbers were the 4 on the track. I don't think they want to use the old 25 font. I think they want to use the same font that they used on the 25 car when Chase Elliott drove it back in 2015 when he drove it for like 5 races or whatever, however many it was. And that was great. So, but yeah, I start talking about stuff and then I get down this loophole. I'm already getting off subject again. So when Dale Earnhardt Jr. when Dale Earnhardt Jr. announces retirement, people start speculating immediately who's going to replace him. And of course, the same person came up last year, or came up for 2016 when Dale Jr. or Jeff Gordon announced his retirement. People were saying, "Oh, Kyle Larson's going to drive the 24 car." I immediately shot that down. I'm saying no. Larson is not going to drive 24 because he's happy with Chip Ganassi Racing. I don't see him leaving them anytime soon because he's getting wins with them. He's got a car and the driver combo that could potentially win a championship. You know, they've gotten in the chase. Just they had a stream of bad luck that knocked them out earlier than they should have been. I think Kyle Larson could possibly win the championship in that number 42 car. They don't even need target backing, which of course they don't even have now because Credit One is now the primary sponsor on the 42 car. So I think Kyle Larson's happy with where he's at in the 42. I don't think there's any need for him to go to the 25 car. I think they should bring Alex Bowman in, but I think they're going to bring William Byron in. So that's my predictions for that car. It's going to change. So just to line it up one more time, the car number is changed to 25. He's going to be on the hood of the car. He's going to drive it. That is my prediction for 2018 for the fourth Hendrick car in the lineup for that team. So in 2018 is going to be Chase Elliott, it's going to be. Wow, actually, let me think of that. This is Casey Kane's finally. I believe this is Casey Kane's final contract here. Wow, I didn't think of that. So think of this. I'm pretty sure Casey Kane's contract is up at the end of this year. If Casey Kane does not get results, I mean, he's been getting more consistent this year. He's had better runs and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be enough. William Byron might take the 5 car. And if that's the case, then Liberty University is going to be on that 5 car, possibly Farmers Insurance still. Take that. William Byron could be in the 5. The 24 will be Chase Elliott. The 25 could be Alex Bowman, possibly with Nationwide on it still. Don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I'd like for that to be the case because Alex Bowman doesn't really have sponsorship or personal sponsorship, I should say. And the 48 being Jimmy Johnson, of course, with Lowe's. I think that could be your 2018 lineup because Casey Kane's ending. His contract is ending in 2018. I believe. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure on that. It might be the end of 2018, but I'm not sure. But I think they did say that the end of this season is a new contract for Casey Kane. And if Casey Kane said if his performance does not go up this year, he will voluntarily leave the 5 car because he does not deserve to be in a position that good. He's actually said that himself. I believe he said that to MRN Radio or SiriusXM, one of the two. But I believe it was on a radio show. He said, I need to remove my performance in that 5 car, or I just need to go. So I don't know. Maybe William Byron could take that car. So on to our next topic, which would be Bristol. So we're going to talk about the results from Bristol. The race, of course, being postponed until Monday due to rain. Great idea. I think it was a great call for them to postpone the entire race until Monday instead of doing part of it on Sunday and then Monday. It inconvenienced me a little bit, but now I thought of it, it was great to have the race all in one. That way, everyone could use their equipment instead of it kind of like being refreshed. Of course, they had that what I call an artificial groove with that solution that they used to put on the car. Am I 100% for that? Not really, because there ended up being 2 grooves anyway. It made that much of a difference. I don't know. I have to go back and watch some of the older races, like from 2014 to 2015, and watch it. But the race being postponed until Monday due to rain. I was a little upset about it, but now I'm kind of okay with it. Let's go fast forward for lap 67. Busch are involved in a crash. This led to about a 6-minute red flag. And so this red flag was basically because of leaking fluids on the track, so debris that they had to clean up. That's basically what the red flag was for. No big deal there. Nothing really happened at the rest of that first stage. Kyle Larson would go on to win the stage. So pretty good for Kyle Larson to get that stage. Fast forward to lap 209. Pretty big gap there, but fast forward to lap 209. Kyle Busch will crash with a blown tire. Dale Jr. will go on the restart after that and will immediately blow a tire as well. And this will actually go into our next subject, which is Kyle Busch versus Goodyear, because he seems to have been having trouble with their tires today. Try to go through the whole recap here. Of course, will win stage 2. I think they said this is his 5th stage win, which is, that's really good considering how early we are in this season. Yeah, I'm glad to see it's doing really well, and Eric Jones as well. He was doing pretty well until he got involved in that crash, hit the wall, and yeah, that was that. So 1 minute, I have to do something with my co-host right quick. Who actually, yeah, that's one thing you'll see is in my co-host tab, you will see that I have a co-host. He was not able to come in tonight, but he will be in it sometimes. So I'm tweeting at him the link right now. Me and him's talking to him on Twitter right now in DMs. So bear with me for just a second. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Where was I? Oh, yes. So Martin Truex Jr. winning stage 2. Eric Jones, pretty good performance as well. Furniture Row Racing having a good run early in this season. Hopefully the performance will stay pretty well for the 77 car. I'm glad to see good things come out of that car this year. So anyway, onto the next thing, which was on lap 383. Kyle Busch will blow another tire. This one where he will crash and end his race. Once again, Kyle Busch versus Goodyear. That's going to be our next segment on here. On lap 423, Kyle Larson, he'll get a speeding penalty from the front of the pack. He had the fastest car all day, possibly going to win the race. This is another thing I was saying. Kyle Larson, I think he can win the championship in the 42. That's why I don't think he will go to the 88 or, as I predict, 25 car next year. I think he'll stick with the 42 because he's happy there. He knows all the guys there. He could possibly win the championship with the. He could possibly win the championship in that 42 car, I believe. And I honestly do think that he will. He can get it done there. So, yeah, Kyle Larson winning. Oh, NASCAR 22 saying that my mic sounds good. Funny because I'm just using my laptop microphone. I don't have any type of mic or anything like that right now. Eventually I will get one, but right now, yeah. But yeah, as I explained, 222, I was having difficulties. That's why I'm behind. I'm like an hour and a half. I started like an hour and a half behind. We're like 20 minutes into the stream, almost now. Maybe not even that. About 10 minutes, maybe. And So I feel bad about that. But next Thursday, I promise, we will start at 9 o'clock Eastern. That's gonna be our set in stone time. Next week, we're going to talk about the highlights from Richmond, as I'm doing here with the highlights from Bristol. Where was I at? Oh yeah. So Larson getting the speeding penalty from the front. He had to go to the back. Basically, cost him the race. Really unfortunate because he had the fastest car all day. On lap 466, Martin Truex Jr. will get a speeding penalty from the front as well. Another guy who could have possibly won this race if that would not have happened. Let me go back to Larson's right quick. Larson's situation was kind of weird. You know, the dude has the number one pit stall. I'm pretty sure he had the number one pit stall, like number one and number two, but it was pretty close up there. And he comes in. He gets a speeding penalty because it's time over I think it's time over speed or something like that. And because of that, he got a speeding penalty. It's kind of hard to explain, but once you get it all figured out and it's all laid in front of you, you kind of get it. It's like the whole instead of counting the distance in feet between drivers, we count the seconds in drivers and lap times in seconds. That's how we tell the speed of a car. We do, or the speed of a car going around the track. They do no different with speeding penalties. They do it over time, what time it should cost, or what time it should be to go from one point in position to another. And from his pit box to that point, it was a lot quicker than what it should have been. And that's why he got a penalty. And that's because he was using an inside, shorter groove than most people, because he was in a really low number, very first, close to the front pit stop. And so that's really what happened there with the Kyle Larson situation. But Martin Truex Jr. on lap 466 getting his speeding penalty, that was just a basic speed penalty. You know, happens. Cost him the race, which was really unfortunate again, because if Larson wasn't going to win the race, Truex probably was. But they both getting that speeding penalty basically cost them both a good run, which eventually would lead to Jimmy Johnson getting 2 wins in a row and becoming the second multi-time winner in 2017. The other one, of course, being Brad Keselowski. So Jimmy Johnson winning the second race in a row, off to a very good start there. Okay, so 222 is asking me who I think is going to take the 88 car next year. As I predicted, this is a contract year for Kasey Kahne. So if Kasey Kahne does not perform as well this year, he said himself he will not sign a contract. He will not stay with the 5 car. He does someone else deserves to be that position. If Kasey Kahne leaves, William Byron's taking the 5 car. That was predicted for a lot of people, only because a lot of people do not want to see him take the 88 car. I think he'll go to the 5 car because Kasey Kahne, I mean, they need someone to fill that position. And Dale Jr.'s crew chief has some experience with Alex Bowman. I'd like to see Alex Bowman in that car. Not 100% sure on that. But, and here's another funny thing. I don't think that car is going to be number 88 next year. I really don't think it's going to be number 88. I think it's going to be number 25. And that only because that number 80 or number 88 was chosen specifically by Dale, and Hendrick just allowed it because there's a funny story behind that. A lot of people don't know the story. The reason Dale Jr. chose the 8 car or the 88 car is because he wanted the fans with the number 8 tattoos to be able to add another 8 on their tattoo to keep the Dale Jr. Tattoo. That is the reason for them to go from 88. That is legit 100% the reason. He said that in an interview with Fox like a couple of years ago. It's actually a pretty funny thing. But I think they're going to go back to the 25 because that is the classic Hendrick lineup. If you go back to 2002, they had the 5, which was at the time. This is like I said, 2002. The 5 of Terry Labonte, not Jimmy Johnson. Terry Labonte, the 24 Jeff Gordon, the 25 of Joe Nemechek and Jerry Nadeau. They shared the car, and the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. So I think that is going to be the lineup. They're going to go back to the 5, 24, 25, 88, or 48. I'm confusing myself now. That's what I think the lineup is going to be in 2018. I predict Byron getting a ride next year. I think it's a little too early. I don't think it'd be such a solid ride. I'm pretty sure Bowman or Byron's getting a ride next year because he's got sponsorship and he's like second place in points right now in the Xfinity Series. I mean, plus he's ready to go. Bowman, he doesn't have a sponsor. That's what's hurting him, I think. If he had a sponsor and a consistent ride, he would be perfectly fine. He'd be almost guaranteed in that ride next year. But since he doesn't have, yeah, and I agree, too early for William Byron. I think Bowman should get the ride. I just don't think he will. I think Hendrick Motorsports would go where the sponsor is, go where the experience is when it comes to drivers getting wins and drivers being up there in points. Byron's second place in points, like I just said, getting 7 wins in the Truck Series. That's impressive right there. And I think they're going to go with that, but I do think it is too early also. So it's kind of a toss-up there. But going back to Bristol, the one thing I want to bring up that people are not talking about than they should be, Clint Bowyer getting a second-place finish. Bowyer getting a second-place finish, his best finish since he replaced Tony Stewart in the 14 car, and I think he's happy there. Him and Mike Bugaravich, I think it's how you say his name, is working pretty well with each other, and I'm glad they are because that's what's bringing the success. So I think what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Larson or Bowyer being where he's at with that crew chief. I'm expecting that 14 car to be in victory lane this year. I didn't think I was going to say that, but after seeing that second place finish at Bristol and seeing how much fun he's having in that car and the consistent runs he's been having, I can almost. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I can see that 14 car being in victory lane at least once this year, especially at the tracks that Bowyer is notoriously good at, like, say, Phoenix. So, yeah, I can see that 14 car victory lane. And so that is your Bristol recap today, guys, tonight. So our next week, of course, we're going to Richmond. The most recent Richmond winner was in the 2016 Chase race, and that was won by Denny Hamlin. That was his third race win at Richmond, and he's pretty good there, but he's not the best, and that's what brings us to our next thing. So, for you guys that are in the fantasy NASCAR fantasy stuff, this right here is your power picks. These are the guys you should pick by driver averages at Richmond. These are the guys that have the best average finishes at of the active drivers. I'm going to go to the top 10 of them. So, yeah, let's get started with this. So, your number one power pick for Richmond is Kyle Busch with a driver average of 6.96. So, just outside the top 5 is the average finish for Kyle Busch, and he's usually pretty good at short tracks. So, if you guys are into fantasy ones, Kyle Busch is definitely one you should pick up. Number 2, of course, Denny Hamlin, the most recent winner. He has an average finish of 10.10. Richmond is no chase. Oh, no, you're right. I'm talking about. No, you're right. I don't know why I said that. The second Richmond race. I think it's in September. That race is what I meant, not in the chase. I feel stupid now for saying that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah. So Denny Hamlin, of course, like I said, the most recent winner. He's number 2 pick on the driver average of 10.10 is his average finish there at Richmond in his career. Number 3 spot is Kevin Harvick with a 10.47 average finish at Richmond. Number 4 is Kyle Larson with a 11.33. Your 5th pick would be Ryan Newman, a 12.27 average finish. Number 6 is Clinton Bowyer. Pretty good in the 14 car. Now he's got way better equipment than he did last year. But he's sitting here with an average of 12.77. So an average about 13th position, rounded up to 13th position is his average with the which has put him 6th ranked in the power pick here. 7th Place in our round pick would be Joey Logano with an average finish of 13.19 there. So Joey Logano, possibly somebody that could be up there. Number 8 power ranking is the guy who announced this is his final season, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 13.24 average finish. The number 9 spot goes to Brad Keselowski with a 15.07 average finish. And the number 10 spot goes to Chase Elliott with a 15.67 average finish. Now, Chase Elliott, remember, this is only his second full-time season. So the average finish, the reason why he might be number 10 is because he's only been there, twice? Maybe even the third time if he raced in 2015. I can't remember what races he ran in 2015. But, Chase Elliott with a 15.67, that may go up, may go down, and it'll probably change pretty drastically, but only because of the low amount of numbers that he's been there. So, those are the guys to watch at Richmond, and these guys are guys that you would expect to be on there. Really, I mean, like Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. The biggest surpriser and the guy that could be the biggest upset there is the most recent winner at RCR, that being Ryan Newman, being the 5th power pick with a 12.27 there. The track's pretty good to him. That win earlier this season for Ryan Newman, that brought in some momentum for RCR altogether, and even their satellite teams, like Germain Racing, is even picking up the speed. Ty Dillon has been he did decent at Bristol. I mean, I still consider the team underfunded, but because I see them as a lot of their parts being refurbished from RCR. However, they were running like top 15 at one point in that race, which is better than they usually run mid-20s, and so ever since Ryan Newman got that win, the RCR franchise has just been, their momentum's been up. Paul Menard's been running better. Austin Dillon, he's been running pretty good the beginning of this season. So Ryan Newman being up there in the power rankings, being number 5 with a 12.27, that could be pretty good. You could see that. Might be able to see that 31 car up there battling for position at some point. And so if you guys are in that fantasy, definitely try to pick up Ryan Newman. That's what I would predict. Pick up Ryan Newman, pick up Clint Boyer, because those guys are going to be the guys that a lot of people will not be wanting to pick up, a lot of people won't be expecting, and that could be a big spoiler for a lot of those people in your chase, or not your chase, your fantasy league. So that's what I would do. Of course, I'm not in a fantasy league type thing. I just never got into that stuff. I tried to start one up on myself with a couple of my friends. It didn't last too long. It lasted like halfway through the season, and we gave up on it. But that's something I thought I'd bring up with you guys, is the Power Picks of Richmond guys to watch. And yeah, I mean, so plus, with this being a brand new podcast, I would like to this is going to be our format every day pretty much. When I get 222 in here, with the I really don't. I hope he doesn't care about me just calling 222 instead of NASCAR 222. But when he gets in here, when we get him figured out in here, for some reason my Discord is not working still. Hopefully we may be able to get him through Skype. May be able to have a Skype account on here, get it all figured out, and be able to join it through there. And I'm still learning this whole podcast streaming thing. Well, not the streaming thing. I mean, when I do the live reaction videos on my main channel, I basically just set the thing up, hit go live, and I just watch the race, and I talk to you the screen, reply to your guys' comments on there and stuff. And so it's a little bit easier in this whole podcast thing. Okay, you'd be able to join a Google Hangout. That would probably be able to work too. I'm still learning about the whole Google Hangout thing. There's chat, cameraman. So I'm still learning with all this, and I invited him. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if he wants to join tonight or not. We might be able to get him to join. But anyway, as I was saying, we got this thing going. We're still working out the kinks on it. I mean, it was a little bit behind tonight, but next week we're going to be going at scheduled time. It's 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Because that's a good time for me. I live in the Mountain Time Zone, so that's why it might be starting a little bit later for some of you guys. So you guys on the East Coast, I apologize. It's just I live on the Mountain Time, and I gotta kind of be able to. I have classes from o'clock to 1 p.m. and then I gotta have a couple hours to be able to set things up. It just took me a lot longer than I was expecting it to, and plus I started working on it a little bit later than I should have. So I completely blame myself for the delay tonight. I apologize for it. I'm going to do all I can to make sure that never happens again. So I want to make sure this is a weekly thing. I want to be able to keep it. I don't want it to fall apart, and little mistakes like that are what causes things to fall apart. But so I'm even just sitting here rambling to a computer. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. And as crazy as that sounds, as that sounds, I'm enjoying this. I like going out here, having my opinions in the sport, having my views get out there. I'll be able to listen to it and respond and reply to it. That connection is something really cool that I'd love to be a part of. That's why I created my YouTube channel in the first place, and that's why I wanted to create this whole this podcast, because I want to be able to get my opinions out there, as well as NASCAR 222. So I wanted to have a co-host because I wanted to him be. It's kind of more funny because he's a Penske guy. I'm a Hendrick guy, so we'll probably be debating and arguing with each other on there, and that's gonna be fun for you guys, for anyone who here can listen and be like, oh, and laugh at us, because we're going to be making points to each other, and we're going to be making fun of each other and stuff. And I'm going to give him crap all the time for being a Penske guy, and he's going to do the same thing with me, I imagine. So I'm excited for it. I really am. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get this out to you guys. So, I mean, like I said, I got all the main points. It's a fairly short video, or fairly short one, because I'm still working out the kinks, everything. Eventually, when I figure it out, I'm gonna have something up here so you can look at instead of just the 3 Wide Podcast logo. Eventually, I'm gonna have something there. I'm still learning Google Hangouts, still learning how to do the whole live stream thing, live podcast thing like that. The audio, of course, is working fine according to NASCAR 222, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying this. I really am. I want to come out here, have some fun with you guys. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun, I think. When hopefully we get a little bit more of a following, we can have people communicating back and forth with each other. We have people communicating in the comments. I got a lot of inspiration from this. To do this was from other YouTubers, other podcasts that are out there. For example, a little bit from RT podcasts, but they're higher quality. They use actual videos and stuff, but they have stuff to actually watch instead of me just being in front of the camera looking all stupid and stuff. But this was inspired from them. It was inspired from a smaller live stream I like to watch every day called 3 Sheets Live. I didn't try to steal their name or anything like that. They just happen to have a 3 in their name as well. The 3 Sheets Live, that's with a YouTuber I watch called Haggy Rants. He started that up and everything like that. He started everything, and him, and he's got 2 other hosts, and they have like 2-3 hour streams, and it's all fun. It's complete fun. I don't plan on having it that long exactly, but I have my maybe an hour or so stream. Talk about the news that happened in the community. Me and of course NASCAR 222 will. Haggy's cool. Oh, so Haggy Rants NASCAR. That's awesome. Not a lot of people know about Haggy Rants because he's got 20,000 subscribers. Fairly small for a YouTuber, and I'm a big fan of his channel, and he yeah, the Trigger podcast with him, Tyndall, and oh, what's his face, Jeff Tutorials. I don't know why I forgot that. They had those three, and then they got rid of Jeff Tutorials because he's like 16 and it's causing a lot of drama and messing up the streams and stuff. He was actually getting him copyright stuff because he was like botting the views and stuff. And after they got rid of JT, when they put in just T from Channel 01 and they renamed it to Three Sheets Live, they in my opinion, I think it got way better because I'm a big fan of Tyndall and Haggy, and I think T is probably a big addition to the channel. I'm a big fan of all three of those guys, and I love their streams. And when I can, I try to come in there. I try to come in there, and they were a lot of, like I said, they were a big inspiration for this thing starting up. And so that's actually pretty cool that you know them. That's really funny actually to me because I didn't expect you to know them at all. I'm like everyone else, where I kind of came in and started watching them after the whole McJuggernuggets drama because I was a fan of the McJuggernuggets Psycho series. I like the Psycho freak out videos, like Kid Behind the Camera or Angry Grandpa. I'm a big fan of them as well. As a stage probably, but I love it. It's all entertainment stuff. Yeah, I'm even saying in stuff. Oh my gosh. But oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I wish I did watch him beforehand because I went back and watched some of his older videos and they were really funny. They were really good videos, and I'm surprised he didn't get more views and stuff before that because that's what really got him more subscribers. And he started talking about McJuggernuggets. He started exposing them, and it would actually end up being a big burden to McJuggernuggets. They actually ended up altering the story and stuff. And so that's what really got me into it, into watching Haggy. And now I'm a big fan of Haggy Rants. I'm a big fan of his channel, a big fan of everything he does, big fan of Three Sheets Live. And I talk back and forth with Haggy all the time on Twitter. You've probably seen our conversations. Me, Tyndall, and one of his moderators and good buddies, Green Dream. Us three like to talk back and forth with each other all the time on Twitter. Like to mess with each other, and it's pretty cool. So that's awesome that you know that connection. But I don't want to end the stream now. I'm all out of topics already. So that's the topics basically I was just going to bring up was I was going to bring up Dale Jr. retiring, my thoughts on it, which I already did at the beginning of the thing. I was going to talk about the Bristol results, which I did, and Kyle Busch. Oh yeah, I didn't really talk about Kyle Busch and Goodyear. Oh wow. So Kyle Busch and Goodyear. So near the beginning of the year, Kyle Busch blew a tire, and he went on this big old rant about Goodyear, saying that they make trash tires. Their tires are not good for the sport. They're not making stuff that are built to last for the sport like they used to. And it started this whole thing. People looking at Goodyear, people asking, should Goodyear have competition in NASCAR? And it seemed like every single race now, Kyle Busch is having some kind of problem with Goodyear. And whether it's some kind of the tires are wearing a lot faster, or he's getting a rub some sort. Of course, it's not really Goodyear's fault. That's just usually because of damage. But in Bristol, blows a tire twice in one race. That's crazy. That's insane. And he's the only driver that happened to. I'm not saying Goodyear's like doing it on purpose, of course, but I'm saying like that is just really unfortunate luck that Kyle Busch, the driver that was ranting about it and talking about how Goodyear needs to change, has two problems involving tires in one race. That is just just bad luck right there. And Kyle Busch is really I imagine he can't be happy with Goodyear. I mean, he has nothing to be happy about. I mean, like I said, it seems like every race he's had some sort of problem with tires, and it's insane that this is happening to him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to deny that it happened to a lot of drivers at all. I just think it's kind of funny how it's happened, or I think it's kind of crazy even. Not really so much funny. I just think it's weird and crazy. It's a crazy coincidence. It's happening so much to Tony Stewart or to Kyle Busch. He's talking crap on Goodyear and stuff, and next thing you know, problems every single week. So we'll have to see if that continues. That's something to definitely watch. And maybe it's Joe Gibbs Racing in general. Eric Jones. I don't remember if it was last week or a couple weeks ago. He was having problems with loose wheels on his cars. The '77 car, of course, that's Furniture Road Racing, but they got JGR equipment, so it's practically a JGR car. It's like the Wood Brothers car with Penske, and it's crazy to me that this happens to so many people, or that it happens to a lot of people right after they talk about Goodyear. But anyway, I'm not going to start a whole conspiracy theory saying, "Oh, Goodyear sabotaging drivers" or anything like that. I'm just saying, it's something to watch, I guess. And I've noticed that a lot. We've had a lot of tire failures this year. This year we've had a lot. Like I said, it happened to Dale Jr. It happened to. I'll get to your question here in a second, NASCAR 222. But it happened to Dale Jr. last week. It happened to. It happened to a couple of drivers. There was a couple of back markers that it happened to, and that was just last week. The week before we had, not the week before, but the race before it, they were having tire blowing, tire after tire after tire. It's crazy. It feels like something tire. So they're obviously changing the tire compounds every season. They're adjusting stuff and they're making changes that they're different. When they do stuff like this, and when they do it, they're getting hit and misses. And this year it seems like it's a straight up miss. And but now NASCAR 222 has asked, who wins first, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, or Eric Jones? Oh, that's tough. All three of those drivers are extremely talented drivers. And Eric Jones, I think, could win, but they need to be more consistent, is what I'm going to say. They need to be more consistent, although they're getting better. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I just don't think they're at the level yet that the 24 and the 21's at just quite yet. 21 car, he led 100 and something laps, and he had a dominating car, and so I mean, not at Bristol, I don't think. Get my races all confused now, but Ryan Blaney's being there. He's getting there. He's got the Penske equipment, and he can potentially win the race. And Chase Elliott, of course, winning the duel, and then getting up there and being another guy who's just being up there. And when it gets to it, just can't seal the deal. Him and Blaney are the same way. They're the exact same way, and it's really, really unfortunate that those two don't have wins yet, because those two drivers definitely need to get a trophy in their trophy case. And which one wins first of the two? I couldn't tell you. Honestly, I have no idea. Both those drivers are extremely talented. I'm not going to be biased and say, "Oh, Chase Elliott 100%," because I'm a Chase Elliott fan. But both drivers are extremely talented drivers, and that's why if you go back to my 2016 prediction video on my main channel, I said Chase Elliott's going to win Rookie of the Year, but it's going to be good between him and Ryan Blaney. I thought Ryan Blaney wasn't going to get it because he didn't have a charter on that car at the time, on the Wood Brothers car, and therefore he was going to miss a race or two, which ended up not being the case. But those two teams are extremely talented. I think what it's going to come down to is which one just has it lined up first. To be honest, 100% honest, I think both of them is going to win a race this year. I honestly think both the 21 and the 24 are going to get a win this season and are going to get in the playoffs. And I don't know how far they're going to get. I mean, Chase Elliott made to the round of 8, or yeah, he got eliminated outside the round of 8. I want to say. I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, I think it was. He got eliminated out of the round of 8 last year, and which was disappointing for me to see as a Chase Elliott fan. I was disappointed to see him not make it after Talladega, but I get it, and he'll go into it this year. I have a pretty good feeling he's going to make the playoffs this year. I think Blaney's going to make the playoffs also this year. Larson, I mean, he's pretty much in it already. He's got to win. Now you got me thinking. I think Eric Jones, out of the rookies this year, I think he will win Rookie of the Year. Although Daniel Suarez is still, kind of learning in the Cup car. He kind of got his. Me and you were discussing this, a few weeks ago when we were testing out the Discord. We're talking about how Daniel Suarez has is just coming in from the Cup Series or from the Xfinity Series, not expecting to go into the Cup Series, expecting to run an Xfinity Series next year. Gets swept into the Cup Series because Carl Edwards retires, and he he comes in. He's doing fairly decent, having pretty good runs, still getting better, but he's not at the level of Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones will win the Rookie of the Year this year. He could possibly win a race this year. I don't think he's quite there yet, but I think he might win a race next year. I'm expecting it next year for Eric Jones. I don't expect him to win of those 3 though. As you said, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones. It's going to come down to Blaney or Elliott, and honestly, of the 2, I cannot tell you which one's going to win. Those drivers are consistent. They are extremely good. They're in some of the best equipment in the sport right now. And in the future, I think in the future, even if they're at the teams they're at, what was I saying? Oh yeah, in the future, both those drivers will be champions, even if they stay in the teams they're at right now. I could see Wood Brothers getting a championship, not a win, a championship with Ryan Blaney. Only because he's already consistent as he is, and he has only his second full-time season. That is impressive. The dude's got just more years of experience is going to get better. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, arguably one of the greatest drivers on the track right now. I mean, one of the greatest drivers. He could be arguably one of the, not the greatest, but one of the greatest drivers ever. He came in 2002. He got his first title in 2006, so 4 years. Took him 4 seasons, and after 2006, he got his 5 championships in a row, and then 2 later on. But you're saying the 77 is going to win this year. I don't think it's quite there yet. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I have to go back and look at his finishing positions in the last races. I know he was doing pretty good at Bristol until he had that issue where he got involved in that wreck. But I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think next year will be his year. But 2016 or 2017, I mean, he might have he'll get close, but I don't know. For those 2, our fair prediction for Eric Jones is who wins first: the 14 of Clint Boyer or the 77 of Daniel or 77 of Eric Jones. Because those 2, they're getting up there. They're getting good finishes, or at least in Eric Jones's case, he was getting a good finish until that incident. I think it's going to be I think if it came down to a fair comparison between the 77, it'd be between the 77 and the 14. The 14 is like it's like the renaissance of Clint Bowyer's career is what I'm calling it right now, and mainly because he was with H. Scott Motorsports, and H. Scott Motorsports, of course, being a really underfunded, just all-out terrible equipment team. So he's running mid-pack to mid-20s, 30s. When he brought the 14 car, and people are saying, "Oh man, Clint Bowyer, he's past his time. He's a terrible driver. They shouldn't get him because look at his positions 2016." He comes in second place at Bristol. That is incredible. So I think a fair comparison would be the 14 and the 77, but that's not bad. I think just both those drivers are kind of case back in the groove of can run decent, and in Eric Jones's case, he's a rookie. He's still learning the Cup car. He's only been in the Cup car like what at most. When he was he subbed a couple times with Kyle Busch, and then at one time with but those two guys are definitely two guys to watch. I'm just going to go back to the initial question between the 24, 21, or 77. I think it's going to come down to the 24, 21. It's going to be good too. Winning material quite yet, if that makes sense. But yes, I agree. The 77 is running a lot better than a lot of other guys. That is absolutely true. The 77 is running a lot better than Casey Kane. He's running a lot better than drivers like Kevin Harvick, drivers like Kurt Busch. Granted, Kurt Busch won the Daytona 500, but other than that, he's had subpar finishes. He's driving a lot better than I would say even his teammate Martin Truex Jr. at times. So yeah, the 77 is doing great for his rookie season. That's why I said he's going to win the Rookie of the Year this year. I'm calling it right now. Eric Jones is going to win Rookie of the Year. That's not kind of far-fetched. I mean, considering his competitions like Gray Gaulding and so Gray Gaulding. So there's only four rookies this year. There's Eric Jones, there's Daniel Suarez, Ty Dillon. Guys, your Rookie of the Year lineup this year. There's only four guys. Of those four guys, the only two guys that are in consistent cars is the 19 and the 77. And as I was saying, the 77 is there. He's getting good finishes. But the 19 car, I think he's still learning. He was kind of swooped into that ride out of nowhere. And I think it's kind of putting a toll on him in his finishing positions. He's not quite Cup material quite yet. And I think that's also what they would do with William Byron if they put him in a Cup car at the beginning of 2018. I think he would just not run good. He'd be like the Daniel Suarez of this year. Yeah. And Ty Dillon was the fourth one, and I don't know why I had to think about that. I even mentioned Ty Dillon earlier in the stream. Streaming for like an hour already, pretty much, and it's gone by pretty quick. I'm loving this. I'm having fun. This is pretty good. I mean, I'm enjoying this. So far the equipment's doing pretty good. I'm probably going to take your suggestion of using Google Hangouts. We'll get that all figured out. And next stream when you want to come in, absolutely join in. That'd be perfect. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be more fun when me and you are both in here. And we can have a conversation in here. We can discuss stuff. And it's going to be cool coming from two different viewpoints. Like I said, I think that's what's going to make it most fun, in my opinion. You being a Penske guy, me being a Hendrick guy. That's like two opposite sides of the spectrum in this. I wouldn't say they're rivals, but they're Ford being the top Ford team with a two-car team, two guys who are not commonly liked by the Hendrick dudes, and that are, I mean, especially when it comes to Joey Logano, they're not well liked in the NASCAR community. Then you have my side where you got the Hendrick cars, where you got four guys, Jimmy Johnson, who he's earned his credentials, but it's about you got Dale Jr., who is Junior Nation, a bit overrated. Then you got Chase Elliott, who has put a lot of shoes on him. So, you got a team that a lot of people would say would be overrated, and you got a team here that's not well liked. Different side of the spectrum. And I think it's what's going to that's what I think is what's going to make this stream perfect. Is we have two guys with two different comes to here, and we're just going to be discussing different sides of it. Who they think is going to be better? Like for you, I don't know if this is true or not, but you might think, oh, Ryan Blaney's better than Chase Elliott. And I might think, oh, Chase Elliott's better than Ryan Blaney. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's what I think. I think it's going to be cool. So that's why I'm excited for this, and I can't wait for this to go. So episode 2 will be next Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. This next Thursday, we're going to talk about Richmond. And we're going to talk about the next upcoming race, which I could be wrong, but I believe is actually Talladega. Let me go and make sure on that because I don't want to look stupid. So, one second. I got the NASCAR app loading up right next to me. So, let me see here. One sec, guys. I don't know why it's taking me this long. We got okay. So there we go. The Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond, and the Geico 500, which I believe is indeed Talladega. Yeah, Talladega. So Talladega is going to be great. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I absolutely love plate tracks. Now I'm not going to get ahead of myself because this is we still got Richmond, but one of my favorite forms of racing is plate track racing in NASCAR because I love the 4 wide, 200 miles per hour, drivers going full on, gassing it all the way around the track, and sometimes coming down the field strategy. Those are some of my favorite races, and I'm excited for Talladega. But Richmond's also going to be great because short track racing is absolute fun. Bristol was a great race. Richmond, I think, is going to be a great race as well. And that's another thing I want to bring up. I haven't really talked about this since I began the stream. I just talked about who won each stages. But I love stage racing. At first, I thought, okay, this is not going to be too good of an idea, as a lot of NASCAR fans thought. But after I saw the Daytona 500 with these stages, I'm like, okay, this might be pretty cool. So I kind of waited, watched it for another race that wasn't a plate track race because, of course, plate tracks there's going to be a lot of cautions anyway, so it didn't really make that much of a difference. We went to the next race, and I loved it more. In every race that we've had so far, I think we've had great racing because of the stage racing, and I love the stages. The only complaint I have about the stages is the caution laps counting, but I see why at the same point because that will mess with their field strategy, mess with the driver, or mess with the crew chief, and it would be almost impossible for them to calculate it because you got the caution laps that will not count, but it's still putting tire wear and using up fuel. So therefore, that will kind of mess with their strategies and stuff and make it too much difficult, too much strain on the crew chiefs, I think. So I see why they count the caution flags or the caution laps after each stage, but it's kind of annoying at the same time. That note, I think I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are great. Come back next week. We'll have the next 3 Wide podcast. It's going to be episode number 2. We're going to be talking about highlights from Richmond, any news that might happen throughout the week. Fun, hopefully we're going to get NASCAR 222 in here as well. We're going to have some great. It's going to be a great stream. It's going to be a great time. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. It's at Brent_Cox_3. Follow NASCAR 222 on Twitter, which is NASCAR222_. Definitely subscribe to my channel. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week after Richmond.